share it with you, and of course I will look through it sometimes, and maybe I'll just read a couple quotes from it right now. Alright, let's just flip to a random page here. Okay. The fundamental cause of suffering is ignorance, the mistaken apprehension that living beings and objects inherently exist. Interesting. Okay, the fundamental cause of suffering is ignorance, the mistaken apprehension that living beings and objects inherently exist. I don't really know what to make of that quote. That is a real brain twister. Ignorance is very dangerous, though. I will say that, as we've kind of seen over the past couple of years. Here's a good one. Human rights should be universal. Thank you, Dalai Lama. I completely agree. Or how about this? Our beautiful blue planet has no national boundaries. What would the world be like with no borders? A very different place. Do you think it would be more chaotic or more harmonious? Or more likely to, I don't know, I feel like if we didn't have borders, then it would be easier for corruption, because, I don't know, anyway, let's not get into that right now. I'm not ready for that kind of conversation right now, but this is the Dalai Lama Book of Quotes and Essays. Alright, let's put that aside. The next one that I picked up is a graphic novel, and it's called Vietnamese Memories. And this is book 1, Leaving Saigon. Leaving Saigon. I know this is backwards for you guys, but just bear with me. I'm going to read the back. Colonialism and war disrupted the lives of millions of Vietnamese sausage with beans and creme fraiche. I learned how to like roast a chicken from this book before I ever started working in kitchens. Sorry, it's kind of hard to show you guys the pictures of this stuff. But like, I made this potato leek soup. Potato leek soup with brown butter. And it gives you like all these tips and tricks. So like, and it shows you step by step with these really beautiful illustrations. Tells you how to make a vinaigrette, like different kinds of vinaigrettes, different salads, how to make all the different types of eggs. Yeah, I just absolutely love illustrations like that. I love illustrations of food, like different ways that food is portrayed in anime and manga. I just find the little details like so interesting, and it looks so lifelike. Yeah, anyway. Okay, sticking with, I didn't even do this on purpose, but I actually got this at the same store. I got this before the Netflix show came out. It is Marie Kondo's Spark Joy, an illustrated masterclass on the art of organizing and tidying up. And I guess this is like the second book. Came after the life-changing magic of tidying up. I'll read the back. You know, I've started doing this. I started tidying up and like trying to get rid of stuff many, many times, but it always gets really overwhelming. And then I get tired and then I stop. But it says Japanese decluttering guru Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up has revolutionized homes and lives across the world. Now, Kondo presents an illustrated guide to her acclaimed KonMari method, with step-by-step folding illustrations for everything from shirts to socks, plus drawings of perfectly organized drawers and closets. She also provides advice on frequently asked questions such as whether to keep necessary items that might not bring you joy, with guidance on specific categories including kitchen tools, cleaning supplies, hobby goods, and digital photos. This comprehensive companion is sure to spark joy in anyone who wants to simplify their life. I honestly don't remember a lot of illustrations, but there's like how to tidy your papers at the office, how to fold cloth and plastic bags. Wow, that's intense. I never got this far. How to fold women's underwear, how to fold men's underwear, how to fold your socks, how to fold your pants. Wow, I guess I really do need to read this. It is about time that I go through my clothes. Okay. So, I really like the cover. It's very simple, and I like the typography as well. Okay. So, this book I've had for a long time. It's called The Flavor Thesaurus by Nikki Segnet. So, this basically, like, oh my goodness, oh wow. I just found this really nice, like, letter from my aunt. Oh, wow. It's from March 2018. she's sitting and enjoying a cup of tea. Oh, that's beautiful. And it must have been in the winter. She wrote me a nice little congratulations note when I got promoted at my last job. Little did either one of us know that that was a really terrible job. Anyway, so the way that this works, basically, he founded Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado. That's crazy. I knew some people who went there and we lived in Boulder. Interesting. Okay. This is called Writing Down the Bones, and I've definitely read this book. I love this book. If any of you are interested in writing, I think mostly fiction, but maybe non-fiction too. It's by Natalie Goldberg. For more than 20 years, Natalie Goldberg has been challenging and cheering on writers with her books and workshops. In her groundbreaking first book, she brings together Zen meditation and writing in a new way. I think that's so cool. She calls it writing practice, which is no different from other forms of Zen practice. It's backed by 2,000 years of studying the mind. Very cool. I really enjoyed this book when I read it. And it kind of gives you different, like, techniques and how to, I don't know, how to become a better writer. And it's really inspiring. Like, I underlined this. Learn the names of everything: birds, cheese, tractors, cars, building. A writer is all at once everything: an architect, French cook, farmer, and at the same time, a writer is none of these things. Just like immersing yourself in your writing and your research. And then there's a whole section called Why Do I Write? Okay. Anyway, that's just like a little sneak peek into my bookshelf. Like I said, it's not a typical bookshelf in that it's like all the books that I've read. It's all the books that I haven't read and that I plan on reading someday. I honestly have trouble reading novels now. I mostly just read articles and essays and short stories. I do listen to audiobooks quite a bit, but probably like everyone in my generation and maybe younger generations, it's like hard to focus now with all the distractions, TV, phone. Just like I need to learn how to turn off sometimes. With that, I hope you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.